The small village of Ligny, nestled in the Belgian countryside, held the key to Napoleon's grand strategy. He sought to engage and defeat the Prussian army, commanded by Field Marshal Gebert von Blücher, before turning his attention to the British forces led by the Duke of Wellington. Ligny was strategically crucial for Napoleon. A decisive victory of the Prussians would have allowed him to consolidate his position, rendering him free to confront the British army in his own terms. On June 15th, Napoleon strategically positioned his army between Wellington and Blücher, aiming to separate and defeat them individually. His forces were divided into three parts, with Michel Ney leading the left wing, Marshal Grouchy commanding two cavalry corps on the right wing, and Napoleon himself leading the center with 3 corps and a heavy cavalry reserve. Ney's objective was to engage the Anglo-Allied forces at Quatre Bras and prevent them from joining Blücher. Meanwhile, Van Damme's 3rd Corps and Gérard's 4th Corps would launch a frontal assault on the Prussian line of defense, supported by Gérard's 7th Infantry Division. Grouchy was tasked with marching to Sombref. Napoleon's plan was to break through the Prussian position at Fleurus and secure victory with the final advance by the Old Guard. His aim was to isolate and defeat each army separately, a strategy he had successfully employed in previous campaigns. Blücher's forces included the 1st Prussian Corps under Zieten, the 2nd Corps under Pirch, the 3rd Corps under Thielmann. The 1st Corps defended the villages of Ligny, Brie, and Saint-Amand, while the 3rd Corps formed the left wing, safeguarding Gambloux and Namur. Blücher and Wellington had agreed to avoid being separated and had planned to meet at Brie before the battle. In response to the French movements, the Prussian 2nd and 3rd Corps sent reinforcements to the 1st Corps. However, their front lines were stretched too thin, relying on the arrival of Billow's 4th Corps from Liège and the support of promised Anglo-Allied troops. The French Armée du Nord, led by Napoleon himself, was a formidable force composed of experienced officers and battle-hardened troops. The army was led by renowned marshals such as Grouchy, Ney, and Soult, and the soldiers had seen their fair share of campaigns. However, the army lacked cohesion and trust among its ranks, as many soldiers had not fought together before. While the French had an ample equipment and supplies, their trust in each other and their generals was fragile, making their success uncertain. Napoleon waited until around 2:30 p.m. before launching his attack on Ligny. He had delayed his attack to secure his left flank and allow Gérard's 4th Corps to deploy. However, these delays limited the time available to achieve a decisive victory before nightfall. The attack began with a cannonade from the Guards artillery in Fleurus. Van Damme's 3rd French Corps, supported by Gérard's 7th Infantry Division, then assaulted the hamlet of Saint-Amand-le-Haye. The Prussian defenders initially retreated, but launched a counterattack, capturing the hamlet. However, the French reinforcements prevented the Prussians from fully enveloping them, and a fierce fight ensued. Blücher personally intervened in the battle and guided the Prussian counterattack. With the weakened French forces, the Prussian counterattack succeeded, and Saint-Amand-le-Haye returned to Prussian control. The Prussians still held Saint-Amand, Saint-Amand-le-Haye, Wagnères by 7 p.m. On the other hand, the Prussian army was in a state of disarray and rebuilding. The quality of manpower, equipment, and organization was poor compared to the previous Prussian forces. The cavalry was undergoing reorganization, and the artillery lacked sufficient guns and equipment. Furthermore, 1/3 of the Prussian infantry consisted of untrained Lunéville militia, prone to disorderly advances and chaotic retreats. At the start of the battle, the Prussians had 82,700 troops, while the French army had approximately 60,800 available troops. At 15 in the afternoon, the Battle of Ligny commenced, as Gérard's 4th French Corps launched an attack on the village. Despite capturing the church, the French division faced heavy artillery fire and had to withdraw after suffering significant casualties. The French launched further attacks with house-to-house fighting, but the Prussian 3rd Brigade counterattacked and recaptured the town. The civilian population of Ligny endured great suffering amidst the flames and destruction of the battle. Around 5 p.m. Field Marshal Blücher deployed the fresh Prussian 2nd Corps under General Pirch to the south of Briey. At the same time, French Marshal Vandamme mistakenly identified a Prussian force as an enemy approaching Fleurus. This surprised Napoleon, who had previously ordered Marshal Ney to send D'Erlon's First Corps to attack the Prussian flank. However, D'Erlon's troops were delayed and did not participate in the battle. Taking advantage of the French confusion, Blücher ordered an attack on the French left flank. Vandamme's Third Corps received support from the Young Guard and the Prussian forces were pushed back. The situation on the battlefield at 7 p.m. saw Grouchy's cavalry advancing, heavy fighting around Ligny, and a battle between the Young Guard and the Prussians on the right flank. Blücher, learning that Wellington could not send help, decided to counterattack the French left. After strengthening their position in Ligny, the Prussians launched an assault on Saint-Amand. Although they initially captured the village, they were eventually counterattacked by the Imperial Guard. During the battle, Blücher, leading a charge in person, had his horse shot under him, and he was rescued while in a semi-conscious state. Lieutenant General August von Gneisenau assumed command in Blücher's absence. Seeing the overwhelming French pressure and perceiving a lack of British support, Gneisenau decided to retreat north to support Wellington, maintaining contact with his forces. At approximately 10 p.m., the order to fall back was given. Lieutenant General Ziethen's First Corps on the Prussian right withdrew slowly, with most of his artillery, while Pirch's Second Corps followed suit. They formed up again within a quarter of a league from the battlefield and safely retired to Wavre via Tilly, evading pursuit by the French. On the left, Lieutenant General Thielmann's Third Corps withdrew last, with the Prussian parks and supplies in town, heading towards Combroux to join Belot's Fourth Corps.